We are now ready to start implementing our custom raised button. So this is going to be a stateless widget. So to get this up and running quickly, I can type in stateless, and then I just need to fill in the class name, which is custom raised button. Okay, I also need to import material from the packages, so I can just do that quickly, and my code should now compile. Now inside the build method, I need to add the code for building the button itself. So what I'm going to do now is to go back to the sign-in page over here, and then I'm going to take all this code, which I had before, and I'm gonna copy it inside the build method of my custom raised button. And just to make sure that this works, I need to return the raised button so that the build method is happy and I have a widget as a return value. Now at this stage, if I want, I can already use this custom raised button inside my sign-in page. And to show you that this actually works, I'm just going back to the sign-in page and I'm going to add it below the raised button that we already have. So I'm just adding a sized box of height 8 so that we can have a little bit of space. And then I can add in a custom raised button like this. Of course, this is now saved into a different file, so I need to remember to import it. So I can do that like this automatically. Now at this stage, I can hot reload and I can see that I have two identical buttons. The first one is the one that we had created before, and the new one is this custom raised button that we have just created. Now, one thing to point out is that this custom raised button is actually not custom at all, because all the values are hard-coded inside the build method. So what we want to do instead is to supply some configurable properties to this custom widget so that it really becomes reusable. So what we are going to do now is to declare all the properties that we want to reuse. We are going to add a constructor so that we can ensure that these properties can be set when the widget is created. And then we need to remember to actually use these properties on the build method. So let's start with step 1. So over here, we're going to create a few properties and we're going to make sure that they are all final. And this is important because all the properties inside a stateless widget need to be immutable. So final guarantees that the properties are immutable and we can't change them once they are created. Okay, so let's get started. So we're going to type in final widget child. Then the next one is final color. Then we have final double, and then border radius. And finally, we're gonna have final void callback on pressed. Now we need to also remember that these properties need to be passed in with the constructor. So we're going to create one, use the open and close brackets, and inside it open and close curly brackets so that all the parameters are going to be name parameters. And here we can declare them as this.child, this.color, this.border radius, and this.onPressed. If I add a comma, I can format the code. Okay, so now that we have defined all these properties, we need to use them. So in the build method, we are going to replace this text widget with the child, then this color with the color, and then we can apply the border radius over here, like this. And finally, the onPressed callback can also be updated like this. Now, because we have added this constructor over here, we need to remember to pass in all these values to custom raised button from the sign-in page. So let's do that. Okay, so in our custom raised button over here, we need to pass in the properties. So we're going to start off with the child, and really what we want to do is to use this same text configured in the same way that we had it before. So here I'm just going to copy paste it. Then we know that we need to pass a color, and this is going to be colors, the white. We know that now we need to pass a border radius, and this is going to be 4.0. And finally, the onPressed callback. And we're going to define it in the same way that we've done before, like this. So now I can actually save and reload, and I can see that this all still works. But because now this is a reusable button, I could very easily change some of these parameters, for example, by saying sign in with Facebook. And then if I reload, then I can see that this gets updated. Okay, so now that our custom raise button is created, we can actually delete the old one, and we're going to use just this one going forward, like this. So I'm going to delete that, and also restore the text to sign in with Google. At this stage, you might point out to me that even though we have created a custom raise button, it still creates quite a few lines of code to just create a button. And all we have accomplished with this refactoring is to hide away the complexity for providing a custom shape. So all we do now is just supply a border radius. As we will see in the coming videos, we will create additional custom button widgets that are based on this custom raise button, and perhaps the advantages of doing this refactor early on will become more obvious as we make progress. In any case, we have now learned how to create our own custom widgets, and we will see that this is something that will pay off. So let's continue on the next video.